Hello students, this is Miss Dalton again. Today we're going to talk about graphing lines in y equals mx plus b form. Now, the past couple of videos, Coach Holliday has talked about what m is, that it is the slope. It could also be considered the rate of change, or it can also be the constant of variation. So let's look at a couple of examples. We're going to draw a line through the given point that has the given slope. The point is -3, 1, and the slope is 3. So the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to plot the point -3, 1. Now remember that the first number that you see is an x value, and the second number that you see is a y value. If you look at your graph, the positive x direction is on the right, the negative x direction is on the left. On the y-axis, we have negative y is going down and positive y is going up. So if we're going to go -3 in the x direction, that means you got to go to the left. So 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to go +1 in the y direction, so we're just going to go up. So it's going to be about right there. Okay, so there's my point. Now my slope is 3. Now because that's not written as a fraction, we need to write that whole number as a fraction, as 3/1. Now remember, the top number represents your rise and the bottom number represents your run. So from this point we are going to rise 3 and run 1. So from this point we're going to rise 1, 2, 3, and we're going to run 1, which is going to be in the positive direction, so that's going to be to the right. And then now we're going to draw our line. So I'll try and do the best job that I can. It's hard to connect dots with a straight line on this iPad. Okay, moving on to example 2. So we have the point 5, 2. So again, 5 represents our x, 2 represents our y. So we're going to go 5 in the positive x direction, which is to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to go +2, which is up 2. So it's going to be approximately right here. If I can get that dot to be right there on the center. It's hard to do when I'm writing on this iPad. Okay, and then my slope is -4/3. Now notice that when you have a negative slope, you're only going to make one of the numbers negative. So I just always make the top number negative, but just remember, when it's a negative slope, only one number is negative. Okay, either the top or the bottom. If we just always do the top, then we'll all be doing the exact same thing. So that's going to represent our rise over our run. So we're going to rise -4. That means we're going to go down 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're going to go to the right 3. 1, 2, 3, because it's a +3. So my next point would be right there. I'm trying to get it on that cross line, and I'm not doing a very good job. So this is the line. Oh gosh, that's terrible. Let me take that off. And let's try and redo that. Still not the best, but you guys will have your IDs on, so you can connect the dots with your straight edge, which is your ID. Okay, now always double check and make sure that you did this right. One thing that I'm going to check is if you notice that this line is going down. Remember, slope dude, where it's nice negative, right? So this is a negative slope, which is what this slope is right here. In example 1, we have a positive slope. Remember, puff, puff, positive, and that is what this slope is, positive. So you just always want to check that to make sure that you didn't do something wrong. Okay, so now we're going to start looking at equations, and let's read what this says. The equation of a line can be written in the form y equals mx plus b, where m represents the slope and B represents the y-intercept. And I'm going to show you why that represents the y-intercept with these next two examples. Alright, so let's look at example 3. I'm going to zoom in on this a little bit. Okay, on example 3 it says state the slope, y-intercept, and then graph it. So if we look at this and that this is written in y equals mx plus b, then we're going to see that the 2 represents our m and the 4 represents our b. So we're going to start off by saying that m equals 2 and b equals 4. Now remember, the b is the y-intercept. Now what does that mean? Well, the y-intercept is where the line crosses the x-axis. And the reason why this is our y-intercept is if you think about the y-intercepts, if I have a y-intercept that is way down here, the x value is 0. And that number is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, let me count again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, so it's -7. So if I was to write the ordered pair there, notice that 0 is my x value. So if I take this equation, y equals 2x plus 4, and I plug in a 0 for 2, I'm sorry, a 0 for x, you're going to notice that that's going to make your y equal to, well, this is going to give me 0, so it's going to be equal to 4. So when x is 0, y is equal to 4. Well, that means that this is my y-intercept, so this is 0, 4. Okay, well, notice that that's always going to be the case. So this last number right here that does not have a coefficient, doesn't have a variable, that is your y-intercept. Well, just like in the previous examples, we're going to start with that. So we're going to graph that point first. So let me go ahead and erase this point. And we're going to graph 0, 4, which is 1, 2, 3, 4. Y-intercept means that intersects the y-axis at that point. So you're going to start there. Now we're going to use our slope, which is 2, and we're going to make that 2 over 1. And remember, that's rise over run. So we're going to, from this point, we are going to rise 2, which is up, and then run 1, which is to the right. And so my next point will be here. And now we can connect the points. So when you graph these, you're always going to start, which I say we're going to begin. Notice begin is B. So we're going to begin with the y-intercept, and then we're going to move, which is M, according to the slope to get our next point. Alright, on example 4, I want you to go ahead and try that yourself. Now notice that we have a negative slope. So just remember how many of those numbers are you going to make negative. So I want you to try this on your own. Press pause, try it on your own, and then when you're ready to check your answer, go ahead and press play again. Okay guys, check your answer. The slope was -3 over 2. The y-intercept was -3. Notice that I took this negative with the 3, and that's my y-intercept. You're going to begin with the y-intercept, and you're going to move according to the slope. Okay, so I started at 0, -3, which is right here, and then I moved down 3, rise -3, and then run 2, and I drew my line. Okay, hopefully you got that correct. Go ahead and fill out your whisk, and please come to class ready to work.